let's get practical. I'm going to take a sidebar on a word that gets a lot of people in trouble. That word is loyalty. See, in business, most of you think being a good partner means sticking it out. No matter what, going to stick it out. You think loyalty is staying on a sinking ship because you like the captain. Stop it. Stop it. In the famous words of Erica Kirk, stop it. That isn't loyalty. That's a suicide pact. Welcome back to the sidebar. I am Patience Babajide McCormick. Now, if you've been here before, you know it's been a minute. Yes, I got to be honest here. I haven't been as consistent as I wanted to be, but I'm going to tell you why. See, I have been bored with the surface level. As many of you know, I'm a lawyer. I spend my days in the trenches of estate planning and commercial transactions. And as I looked at what was happening on social media, the 60-second hustle tips and the get rich quick talk, I think I realized that nobody was actually talking about how to stay successful. See, there's a bunch of people who are talking about how they made $5,000 in a weekend, how they use this AI tool or AI chat GPT prompts to be successful when they made their first $1 million. But who's talking about how to stay successful? People are loud about the money they're making, but they're silent about the structures that they're losing. And oftentimes they're making a lot of money and that money is exiting out just as quickly because they do not have the correct structures in place. Now we're changing that. And that's what my goal is in revamping the sidebar. We are changing the frequency. No more, hey fam, kind of fluff kind of stuff. We're going deep. We're talking about power and protection and the paperwork that makes it all happen. So let's talk about a little bit about where we're going to be going. Here's the roadmap that I imagine for where we're going now. From this point forward, the sidebar is going to be known as your intelligence briefing hub for the long game, not for short term quick fixes, for the long game, because I want to see us going into this new year successful. We are walking into 2026, and I'm going to be your voice in three specific areas. I've coined a few names for these areas, but forget about the words that I'm using to describe them and just think about what I'm describing. So the first I think I'm coining here is a legacy warfare because quite literally it is war. We're moving past writing a will because the focus has been too long on writing a will. Will is not sufficient. We're adults now. We're going to talk about how the 1% use trusts and private foundations to keep their names on buildings and their money in the family for 100 years. Next is the deal room. If you are a business owner, this one's for you because I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes of commercial transactions. I want to show you the clauses that save empires and the handshake deals that destroy them. No more handshake deals, please. The third area we're going to cover is the social decode. This is where we look at the headlines, the celebrity divorces, the corporate buyouts, the estate battles, and we pull the legal truth out of the gossip. So think of situations like, the Wendy Osefo, Real Housewives saga, all the different things going on. The gossip, it makes for juicy fodder. That's not where we want to be stuck. We want to pull the legal truth out. We want to protect ourselves. We want to make sure that we are armed with knowledge so that we can be successful. That is a roadmap. If you want a 30-second dance, a 60-second preview, or a statement on how to be rich quick, go to TikTok. If you want to build a dynasty, stay right here. Now, we're going to jump right in. Speaking of dynasties, let's look at the mess being made in the headlines right about now. I coined this phrase. I like to think of myself as a poet from time to time. In high school, I was really good with poems, and I still write from time to time, but I'm just a creative soul, generally speaking. So I coined this phrase. Let's just get to it. Success is a loud neighbor, but legacy is a silent partner. And I'm going to explain exactly what I mean in a little bit. But essentially what I'm saying is most of you are out here playing checkers with your bank account while the state is playing chess with your life, right? It's December 30th today as I'm recording, and I think I'm going to post this tonight, possibly tomorrow at the very latest, because I want to post this in 2025. And I can imagine what y'all are doing right now. You're probably frantically putting together or finalizing your vision boards for 2026. This is what I hope I will achieve. And, setting your goals and whatever the case is for 2026. I don't do that personally anymore. And I would like for you to stop. I'm telling you instead to make an execution plan. See, I spend my days in the fine print where dreams oftentimes go to die because someone didn't want to pay for a signature, to pay a lawyer, to review something, to get into the weeds of what the contract states. And so today we aren't just talking about money and success and protecting yourself. We're going to be talking about sovereignty, which is powerful, right? We are breaking down why the rich and famous are failing in 2025, why your business is currently a liability, and how to lock your wealth in a vault that neither the IRS nor a messy divorce could ever crack. Not to throw in a celebrity name, but Candy Burris, maybe you should be listening on my podcast as well. Anyways, listen, I'm done with that long intro. Now I want to get into the nitty gritty. No fluff, no fillers, just guidance based on my legal expertise. All right, let's get right into it. Now, I mentioned that success is a loud neighbor. What I mean by that is everyone wants to show you the things, the cars, the houses, the luxury vacation, the trips, the homes, vacation homes, the boss lifestyle essentially. But as your attorney, I'm the one who sees the quiet reality. I see the IRS letters, I see the partner disputes. And I'll be transparent. I took a picture about a decade ago, and I recently, during the Christmas time, I posted in our family chat. And, I'm just sitting up and I'm pompous. And I say, I caption it in the family chat, boss then, boss now. And it was a bit tongue in cheek because I really don't like those terms, boss, lady, boss, whatever. I don't really subscribe to that. But 10 years passed and a lot happened within those 10 years that nobody knows because we don't talk about it, but we are going to be talking about the mistakes, the pitfalls, the recovery, how to do better, right? Because this year we saw Richard Simmons' estate hit the fan. We saw the Murdoch family fighting in a Nevada courtroom like they were in an episode of Succession, which I actually think Succession was written based on their life. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what I've heard. They said, who's they? But in any case, all of that is just proof that you can have all the money in the world and still have zero control. And that, my friends, is a choice. So, what I want us to do is choose differently, right? Because if I were to take a poll right now and I were to ask everyone, tell me about your family. Do you think you're tight knit? Do you think that they're fractures? I think many of you will be honest and say, fractures, probably need to mend things in case of, a change in life or whatever. But a lot of you will immediately say, my family is tight. If anything were to happen, we would come together. We would know how to figure it out. Well, tell that to a probate judge because oftentimes when you think that way, that's where you land. Because let's look at the mess that was left behind by Richard Simmons, for example, and by the Murdoch family. That was this year alone. We're not even talking about Prince and Aretha Franklin and their stories and, Anna Nicole Smith, like that whole saga. And I've talked about a few of these people in the past, including the Murdoch. But in 2025, we've seen that irrevocable doesn't always mean unstoppable. Who would have thunk it? Well, that's not true. Rupert Murdoch, however, believed that he tried to rewrite his family irrevocable trust to favor one son over the others. He thought he was the law. Well, the court in Nevada reminded him the paperwork is the boss, not you, sir. You may own news networks and you may be able to tell the story, but you cannot rewrite law, right? Yeah, that happened. And I kind of want to make this a little personal. If you are a successful person, you're often the first in your family to reach that level. Now, for me, I have five other siblings and they happen to be all very successful. But if you are one, in many, you are often the pillar. But if that pillar doesn't have a living trust specifically, you are essentially inviting the government into your living room to divide your assets. Your shoes go to there. Your bags have to be sold to pay off a creditor. You're saying, if you have a will, please, judge, may these things go to my family. Whereas if you had a trust, It would be a must. A trust is a must. I'm so witty. I'm so good with words. I don't know. Kudos to me. But yeah, that's a mindset shift. That's the mindset I want you to have going into the new year. The mindset, however, doesn't pay the bills. So we're going to also talk about structure. We're moving from holding to owning right now. So just stick with me because the next part is about the money the government is trying to take from you. This is not fear mongering. I'm not saying it this way to evoke a certain emotion or thoughts. I'm just keeping it real. The IRS doesn't care about your hustle. I just want to be clear about that. They only care about your structure. So you may have many businesses. You may have watched a YouTube or an Instagram or a TikTok video where they say you can write all this stuff up and you do that. Make sure you have the right structure in place before you do that, please. Listen to me closely. We are in the middle of a tax cliff. As of right now, late 2025, end of 2025, really, the federal estate tax exemption is sitting at an all time high of $15 million. That door is slamming shut in 2026. See, most of you think, I don't have $15 million. I don't have to worry about this. I'll probably never see that amount of money in my lifetime. Okay, fine, fair. I'm not going to argue with you on that. But let me ask you a couple of different questions. Do you have a $2 million business? Do you have a $1 million home? Do you have life insurance? Well, ding, 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 you're a winner. Congratulations. You are a target. If you don't move your assets into an irrevocable life insurance trust, an ILIT, right this moment, you are volunteering to pay a 40% success tax to the IRS. I don't know about you, but I don't work this hard to give nearly half to a government that didn't help me, didn't lift a single finger to help me build it. Now, that's my take. You may have a different opinion. Put it in the chat. Let me hear your thoughts. Maybe there is a reason why the government is entitled to that. I don't know. You tell me. But that's the family side of things, your home. Let's move to the commercial side of things because some of you are losing money before you even get home. Your business is leaking and you don't even see the holes. And that's what I mean when I say let's move on to the commercial side of this game. I hear all the time about handshake deals, but I want to make something clear. And I talked about this a little bit when I opened up. I said a handshake is not great. But let me put it a different way. A handshake is a greeting. Hey, what's up? My name is. That's a handshake. Keep it at that. A contract is a boundary. That's that paper that you sign, has terms and conditions. That's the thing that the courts look at, right? Not that handshake deal. I mean, caveats all around. Best practice, get it in writing. Choose your weapons in 2026. Avoid pitfalls and just choose success, right? That's really what I'm aiming at. Choose success. In my commercial practice, I've seen more best friend businesses end in 2025 than I've seen Hollywood marriages fail. We saw it with the Stardust Diner litigation, millions of dollars flying out the door because of loans that weren't documented. Or maybe you haven't heard about that litigation, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. So the Stardust Diner is where waiters actually sing show tunes while you eat. It's kind of cool. I've heard of it. I've never been. It's located in Times Square. Also, what I found out about this diner is that it's where a lot of Broadway stars go to work before they get their big break. So it's actually a landmark kind of thing. Now, Ellen Sturm, she's the mom here. She sued her son Kenneth for allegedly siphoning, wait for it, $12 million from the restaurant. He allegedly took loans from the diner to fund his other businesses while his mom, the owner, was left in the complete dark. No paperwork. He just thought he was entitled to it. Ellen also sued her accountant because they saw the money moving and apparently they said nothing. And that's another thing. Your CPA is not your friend. Check them, check in, and do it frequently. My brother in law is my CPA, but still, I love him, I trust him, but still, you got to check in. In this case, the betrayal was by family, not friends, which I think is far worse, actually, but you get the point. Make sure that your business does not have leaky holes in it, right? Have everything in writing. So, what should you do? Right? Let's get practical. I'm going to take a sidebar on a word that gets a lot of people in trouble. That word is loyalty. See, in business, most of you think being a good partner means sticking it out. No matter what, going to stick it out. You think loyalty is staying on a sinking ship because you like the captain. Stop it. Stop it. In the famous words of Erica Kirk, stop it. That isn't loyalty. That's a suicide pact. Let me say it clearly. As your attorney, I don't let my clients sign up for missions where the exit is blocked from the outside. If your operating agreement doesn't have a bad boy clause, You are legally shackled to your partner's basement level behavior. We live in a world that moves at the speed of a screenshot. If your partner gets a DUI or gets canceled on a Tuesday, your brand value is incinerated by Wednesday morning. You've seen it, you know that to be true. If you don't have a contract that says, if you embarrass this house, you lose your seat at this table, then you aren't an owner. And that's the kind of contract that I would say the Stardust Diner should have had in place for all of their employees, son, mother, daughter, everyone. Otherwise, you're a hostage. I mean, that's the best way to say it. You're a hostage to your partners and to, your employees' behavior. That's the reality of the living. But we need to talk about the reality also of the departed. For the love of your legacy, fund your buy sell agreement with life insurance. For the love of your legacy, fund your buy sell agreements. Fund it, first of all, and then fund it with life insurance. I hear it all the time. Oh, I trust my partner's spouse. We're like family. Listen to me. Grief changes people. Attorneys change people. Greed changes people. Do not tell me you trust a grieving spouse to play nice with your company's cash flow after a funeral. Don't put that burden on them. Don't put that risk on yourself. You don't trust vibes and you don't trust intentions. You trust the policy. You trust the payout. You trust the paperwork. Buying out a partner who compromised the mission or who passed away isn't being mean. It's being sovereign. We're taking ownership in 2026. It's ensuring that the entity survives the individual. So if you can't make the hard call in the contract, you'll never make the big moves in the market. That's just a reality. You gotta be tough. You gotta have a tough skin and you have to move away from moving with vibes and this false sense of loyalty. The paperwork is your protection. The structure is your strength. I'm obviously giving you this game for free because I want you to win. I want all of us to walk into 2026 winning. But let's take a real sidebar. When I'm not behind this mic, I'm in the room where these decisions are actually made. At my firm, we don't just file paperwork, we build fortresses. We specialize in two things, that's commercial transactions and estate planning. I've been doing this for a really long time. I've worked with small businesses, I've worked with large businesses, I've worked with businesses that make hundreds of thousands a year, and I've worked with businesses that make millions and billions a year, right? Keep that perspective in mind. And in our world, those aren't two different departments, commercial transactions and estate planning. They are the same mission. We are the architects for the high achiever who realizes that making it was only half the battle. On the commercial side, we handle the deal making, we draft the operating agreements that protect you from the bad boys and the business divorces I just talked about. What we do is make sure that when you sign your name, you aren't signing away your future, right? And on the estate side, we move you from hope to certainty. So, what we do there is build the trust that keep the IRS out of your pockets and the probate court out of your family business. And that's something that not a lot of attorneys are thinking about or offering, or that you, the consumers, the customers, are thinking about as well, or questioning your attorneys around. Estate planning is not just for afterlife, it's also about the present while you're here and keeping the IRS out of your pocket. We don't work with people who want a quick fix. I'm sorry, I don't do that. We work with people who want to be sovereign, who want to rule their lives, right? Not in place of the Almighty, obviously, but who want to have control and ownership over their affairs. If you're at the stage where your success has outpaced your structure, that's where my firm would step in. Now, I am only licensed in the state of Georgia, and none of this is legal advice. We are not forming an attorney client relationship here. Keep that in mind. This is just what I do, and what I'm telling you is how I protect and secure my clients. We provide the blueprints that our clients need so that they can focus on the building, right? That's what we do. That's the standard that we choose to approach our services and our firm with. Okay, so if you're still with me, that was a little bit of a commercial break, maybe, I guess. I don't know. But if you're still with me, you're the 1% who actually wants to keep what they build. But there is a cultural lie that we need to address before we close. I talked about this earlier, but I'll say it again. I'm done with the girl boss era. Hear me out. Hear me out. We're entering the sovereign strategist era. The media loves to talk about how specifically Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs. They love to talk about that. But they don't talk about us, me included, being the group with the least legal protection. We're just out here manifesting when we should be mandating. If you can't show me your corporate minutes, you don't have a company. And I'm sorry to say this, ladies, this one's for you. You have a hobby that pays taxes. Get it together. The facts are on the table. The law is clear. I've talked about the hurdles, the things that you need to have in place. Now, the question is, what are you going to do about it? Here's your blueprint. What are you going to do about it? All right, I'm going to just go ahead and wrap things up. I'm moving my focus to this long form space because your legacy deserves more than a 30-second scroll. So if you want to be the architect, sovereign over your life, your affairs, you need to be a student of the law. I've put together a checklist. I'm going to include a link in the description below. It's on my website, www.lawrooted.com. It's a checklist. It's free. You use it. You call over to your attorney. You tell them the feedback that you received. You ask questions. They can help you set up your wealth, your sovereign wealth strategy. Do it. Use the tools that are available, especially when they're free, because they don't often. I am not free. My services are not free ever. So I'm using this platform to share and offering free advice, free game, if you will. I don't just practice law, right? I build empires. And I think I've offered quite a bit of food for thought in this episode. And as we move into the new year, I'm going to be offering weekly drops. I'm really looking forward to engaging with you all in the coming months and years to come. But until then, I'll see you next week. And I hope you've taken a few little nuggets and you are ready to embark on 2026 in a meaningful, powerful, protective way. We're out. Until next time.